Welcome to the February 9th, 2022 regular board meeting. The time's 4:31. I'll now open the meeting, take roll call. All members are here except for Director Evinger, who will be here in a few minutes. We're running a few minutes late. We're going to be adjourning to closed session. I'll read the closed session items. Conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 of subdivision D of section 54956.9, one potential case threat of litigation from Wynn Williams, dated January 20th, 2022. Conference with labor negotiators. Meet with board-appointed negotiators. Fire Chief Dave Williams, Finance Director Steve Heide, Interim Human Resources Director Andrew Say? Thank you. Regarding negotiations between Teamsters Local 1932 non-safety unit employees in Chino Valley Fire District per Government Code Section 54957.6. In conference with labor negotiators, meet with board-appointed negotiators, same ones, regarding negotiations between the Chino Valley Professional Firefighters Local 3522 Safety Unit and the Chino Valley Fire District per Government Code Section 54957.6. Do we have any public comment on closed session items?
No public comment.
Seeing none, hearing none, we'll now adjourn to the open session to closed session, and we will return to open session at 6 o'clock p.m.
And Wynn Williams is stepping out.
And Director Williams is stepping out at this time. For the first of the three items only. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the February 9th, 2022 regular board meeting of the Chino Valley Fire District Board of Directors. The time is now 6 o'clock, and I will begin the meeting. Please note the record that all five of us are here. And tonight we are being joined by Melania Ariando, who's going to be our acting clerk for the evening. So welcome to the dais here with us. We had no report of action out of closed session. And if you all please stand up and join me for the flag salute, followed by the invocation. And Director Luth, if you would please lead us off.
Join me in honor of our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for our invocation by Chaplain Marco Miranda.
Good evening, everyone. Let's pray. Father God, we thank you for your great love, grace, and mercy. I ask your blessings on this meeting tonight, on the board, and also distinguished guests. I pray, Lord, that you'd give them wisdom and discernment to make good choices, Father, that would honor and please you. Lead them and guide them by your Spirit in everything. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. You all may be seated. And acting clerk, do we have any changes from the agenda?
No changes to the agenda.
All right. I did that. Yeah. All right. Good evening, everyone. Tonight we're going to do a proclamation for American Heart Month. This evening we have one proclamation on the agenda. The proclamation is for America Heart Month. Heart disease is responsible for 1 out of every 3 deaths in the United States. And while progress has been significant in reducing deaths, it is still the #1 killer of both men and women in the nation. The Fire District has developed a fantastic cardiac care program and has partnered with the community in an effort to strengthen the chain of survival by recognizing and stimulating efforts to improve the system by partnering with local government agencies and the community to reach heart-safe status. On behalf of the Chino Valley Fire District Board of Directors, I would like to proclaim February 2022 as American Heart Month, partnering and prepared to assist our community to reach heart-safe status.
Okay. Employee Service Awards. Engineer Christopher Green, 15 years. Engineer Chris Green, please step forward.
So I get to say some nice things about you. Chris Green was hired with the Chino Valley Fire District January 2007 as a firefighter paramedic. Chris was raised in the city of Covina, where he attended Charter Oak High School and later attended Mount Sac. Chris currently resides in the city of Norco with his wife, Ryan, and has 4 children, Jared, Gavin, Jake, and Mackenzie. Chris was promoted to engineer in May of 2021 and is currently assigned to Medic Truck 61 B shift. In his free time, Chris and family enjoy off-roading, boating, and sports. Congratulations on your 15 years of service with the fire district. Congratulations. Great. Chief, you're going to come up to this? Yeah. Excellent. Congratulations. Thank you.
Employee Service Award, Engineer Jared Mitchell, 15 years of service. Engineer Mitchell, please come forward.
How you doing? Engineer Jared Mitchell. Jared Mitchell was hired with the Chino Valley Fire District January 2007 as a firefighter paramedic. Jared was raised in the city of Chino, where he attended Chino High School. He also attended Mount Sac, where he took fire science classes. Jared currently resides in the city of Eastville with his wife Melissa and 2 children, Abigail and Braden. Jared was promoted to engineer in 2019 and is currently assigned to Medic Truck 61 A shift. In his free time, Jared enjoys watching his kids play sports and going to the river in the summertime with his family. Congratulations on your 15 years of service. Thank you.
Congratulations, Jared.
You want to do that right now? Yeah, so can you come back up real quick? I'm going to give the 2 15-year guys have a quick photo. And we will be taking a slight break right after for the families to take some photos as well. There we go.
Employee Recognition, Battalion Chief Brian Turner, please come forward.
Battalion Chief Brian Turner, on behalf of the Fire Board of Directors and the Chino Valley Fire District, we thank you for your dedication and leadership as the EMS captain. Thank you very much for your service for doing that, and we have a little plaque here for you on that. Yeah. Absolutely.
Thank you, Brian.
Employee of the Year, Human Resources Specialist Angelica Delatorre. Please come forward.
All right. Angelica, somebody who I speak to all the time because I keep changing my benefits, began her employment with the Chino Valley Fire District as a temporary employee in March 2009. In October of 2009, she was hired permanently as a full-time receptionist, while she also assisted the clerk of the board office. On December 13th, 2014, she was promoted on her current position as Human Resources Specialist, specializing in benefits and risk management. Angelica, or as her friends and family call her, Angie, was born and raised in the city of Corona along with her 2 younger siblings, Amanda and Tony. She attended high school at Corona Senior High, where she graduated and received her high school diploma. Currently, Angela resides in the city of Ontario with her husband, Pete, and their dog, Roxy. Angela and Pete are expecting their first baby in August. Fantastic. As a human resources specialist, Angelica is in charge of benefits and risk management. She assists both current employees and retirees in all things related to benefits, such as health, dental, retirement, life, and vision, which is a pretty big order when you talk about dealing not only with all of our employees, but all the retirees as well. Angelica also coordinates the district's workers' compensation program, which she serves as a liaison between the district employees, claims administrators, and healthcare professionals to acquire the help and care that our personnel need. With the data Angelica gathers, it assists the district in ensuring accidents are kept to the minimum, thus creating a safe workplace for fellow employees here at the district. Angelica was selected as Employee of the Year by her peers because of her positive attitude, genuine caring of employees, and consistent, helpful, and friendly demeanor. Angelica is also always willing to volunteer with a fire district event. You will also see her helping and interacting with the community. In her free time, she loves to spend time with her family, especially her nieces Caitlin and twin goddaughters Chance and Madison. She's a huge baseball fan and stands by her team, the Los Angeles Angels. Are you sure? Okay. It says Dodgers. She also loves watching football and is a supporter of the Los Angeles Rams. See, I was going to make a Charger joke there too. Congratulations for being District Employee of the Year. And with that, we have a fantastic plaque here for you. Yeah, please.
I just want to say that we really appreciate everything that Angelica does. This is one of the positions that I walk by her office every day, and it's kind of one of the unsung hero positions. She's in there grinding it out day in and day out. I have received positive feedback from our personnel all the time that when they call, she picks up and she helps them get accomplished what they need to accomplish. So thank you very much. We appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
If you want to, your husband, Pete, if you want to come up for a quick picture. Yeah.
No,
I do notice Pete had on the angel red though.
Firefighter of the Year, Engineer Jeff Anderson. Please come forward.
Jeff Anderson is a fire engineer and 10-year veteran of the Chino Valley Fire District. He began with the district as a firefighter paramedic and promoted to engineer in 2018. Jeff and his wife Kristen reside in Fontana with their 2 daughters, Leah and Gwen, and their son Caleb. Jeff grew up in Big Bear and graduated from Big Bear High School. He attended Victorville College for his fire academy and Crafton Hills College for his paramedic certification. Jeff also attended the Columbia Southern University and received an associate's degree in fire science. Jeff was nominated as Firefighter of the Year by his peers for his commitment to the district. He is an urban search and rescue swiftwater rescue team member, serves on the apparatus and airport committees. He also serves as the treasurer for the Chino Valley Professional Firefighters Labor Group. Jeff has also participated in several new hire recruitments as a proctor and panelist. In his personal life, Jeff enjoys camping and snowboarding with family, loves the outdoors, including snowboarding. He is a pilot and loves to fly in his free time. Congratulations, Chef, on being selected as the 2021 Firefighter of the Year. Chief?
Again, I'm very, very pleased. And most of you know, us in the fire service, we can be very boisterous, very vocal, very out front. I think it takes an A-type personality typically to do the job. But there's really a unique skill that Jeff has, and I've witnessed from the very beginning. Jeff doesn't say very much. And when he does, it has a lot of value. There's a lot of insight to it. So for that, I appreciate you, all that you bring to the table. It's a unique skill that I don't necessarily have, so I always appreciate those things.
Do you want to have your family come up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to do it now or later?
We do it later.
Okay.
She's like, I don't know if I want to do it in front of everybody.
Does that mean much?
We'll take a quick break. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Angelica, can you stay up here? Can you come back up with your plaque and do one more cool picture? Well, actually, let's see his family come up, doesn't it? I didn't read far enough on there. We'll get you up here next. We'll get up here in a minute.
Chaplain Recognition, Chaplain Richard Lewis, please come forward.
So tonight's one of those bitter nights where Chaplain Lewis has decided to retire on us. We're just so grateful for the time that he did spend with us. Director Luke and I were talking about your soulful voice and how much we're going to miss that. So this evening we recognize Robert Lewis for his service of over 7 years as a chaplain with the Chino Valley Fire District. Robert began his service of ministry with the Chino Valley Fire in June 2014, provided professional and spiritual ministry to the citizens of the Chino Valley and to the members of the Chino Valley Fire District. Your dedication, compassion, determination to make a difference in your community and the Chino Valley Fire has been a blessing to us all. We thank you for your unselfish dedication, and we wish you happiness, peace, and good health on your retirement. And thank you for providing over 7 years of outstanding service to the district. Chief?
So tonight's a bit bitter. I'm going to take my mask off for this one. I think it's really important for me. But tonight's sort of a bittersweet for me to see Robert leave. There's a lot of really things that are super admirable about him, besides the fact that he's a fine dresser and I really like attire. The Chaplain Core is a very special program that we have here that extends out to the community in a time of need when we seem to always have the answers except for this time. We need something that's even a bit more specialized. What's really unique about Robert is not only did he come out selflessly and serve, but within the chaplain group, which there's currently 4, he was, in my opinion, he was the advisor and the spiritual leader even within that group. He's one of those people that when he comes across your path, you just instantly feel warm, you feel blessed. And so I don't only believe that he blessed this organization, he blessed me personally as a man. So for that, thank you very much. Thank you, beautiful wife, for allowing him to be with us for this amount of time. We appreciate you as well. And anytime you want to come back and grab a cup of coffee, get me back in line, whatever it takes, come looking good like you do, and you're welcome.
I'm going to take a couple pictures.
I got tea for you.
Okay, well, we have your wife come up real quick for a picture.
Is he going to say anything?
Would you like to say anything?
Yes, I would. In fact, I wrote it down, so I'll make sure I get it out of my heart.
Well, why don't you sit right here?
Thank you. Thank you very
So
much.
that big?
Want to put 3 minutes, 26 seconds. All right. My first words of gratitude go out to our Heavenly Father and Lord Jesus Christ for giving me the blessed privilege to serve 7 years, one of the chaplains of the Chino Fire District. been my pleasure to give my time and some tears, and by God's grace, even some comfort, to the ministry of presence. Just being there was more times than not painful, but I know that's where God wanted me to be. However, if the full truth is told, what I enjoy most of all every year, a few days before Christmas, standing in the parking lot, waiting for Santa to roll by in big red, escorted by his team of reindeers disguised as motor officers. Always got goosebumps. If you've never sat out here and watched kids get off the bus and go and do a shop, you've missed a treat. It's a blessing to be able to know we're doing this kind of work for our children. It makes me feel good all over. I'm very grateful to Rob DeParte, the foreign chaplain of this department, for sticking his neck out for me and bringing me on board 7 years ago. I'm very grateful to be here. Bob is retired, but I'm sure he's still the best chaplain in the world. He's certainly a cream of the crop in my heart. I'm also grateful for Rob choosing our current leader, Henry Aguilar, who's out of town tonight, but he's outstanding. So when he has something to say, he's good to listen. My prayers always will be for you, department members, board members, families, for keeping our prayers, and pray that God will bless us all to continue the work we're doing in His name. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. A very big papa.
Come take a picture with your wife. I think Mr. Lewis would have given Rob Cornelius a run for the money on the Soul Train if he was.
I'm saying cheese, but it's not saying
Fantastic.
One more request, please, Chief. I'm going to want to close or something.
All right, so before we go to the break, can the Anderson family come back up for the photo? It was written. Right over it, so. Okay, with that, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break. If anybody else wants to do pictures or other family stuff, please come up, and the board will vacate the backdrop for you guys to take some nice pictures.
Public hearing. Public to provide input regarding the composition of the divisions and to consider division boundaries for the fire district transition from at-large to by-division elections and adoption of boundary map and review draft maps. Purpose is to provide the public with an overview of the fire district's plan to transition from at-large to by-division elections and adoption of a boundary map pursuant to the California Voting Rights Act and associated statutes, and review draft maps with the proposed boundary lines.
All right, so the public hearing is now open at 6:29.
Okay. Okay.
You want to be giving us the report?
Yes. Okay. President Krieger, members of the board, as you know, today is the 4th required public hearing for the districting process. 2 public hearings were held for the purpose of providing information and soliciting input before any maps were drawn. A 3rd public hearing was held for the purpose of providing the public with information, collecting additional input, and reviewing draft maps. Tonight is the 4th public hearing. Jeff Simonetti from National Demographics Corporation is here again tonight to present revised and additional draft maps. Draft maps presented tonight were attached to the staff report and are also available on the Fire District website. It is recommended the Board of Directors conduct a fourth public hearing to provide an opportunity for the public to receive an overview of the Fire District's plan to transition from at-large to by-division elections and adoption of a boundary map pursuant to the California Voting Rights Act and associated statutes, and review and provide input on draft maps with the proposed boundary lines.
And on cue, here it comes. All right, good evening, everyone. Jeff Simonetti with the National Demographics Corporation. As always, we appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. And so tonight we will go through a quick presentation, and then the main purpose and focus of this evening is to go back and review the revised draft maps. So we were given feedback to bring back maps 103, and then we made 2 map revisions, which represent maps 104 and 105, which we'll walk through. And we'll talk about some of the final key deadlines and next steps in hearings to complete the process. So as was discussed, we have four required hearings to be able to move through the decision-making process here. So we had 2 initial pre-draft map hearings back in November and December to provide education and to solicit input on which communities in the district we wanted to keep together in terms of looking at particular districts. We'll have 2 initial hearings on the draft maps. We had our first on January 12th, and this evening is on February 9th, which we'll be looking at the revised maps that we brought back. And this evening, we'll be hoping to be seeking direction on either a particular map that you would like to bring forward at the March 9th hearing, or if there are particular revisions to any of the maps that we did, so that we can bring a finalized map for you to adopt on March 9th. That needs to be posted at least 7 days prior to adoption. So that'll be posted at the latest in early March if there are revisions that need to be made. And the process needs to be completed by no later than April 17th for us to be able to submit that map to the San Bernardino County Registrar of Voters in time for the November elections. We've talked about the redistricting rules and goals, but these are important again to follow. The most important rule that we follow here in terms of the federal laws are the Federal Voting Rights Act, which particularly pertain to having generally equal population, as we've talked about having a no greater than 10% deviation in the population, and there can be no racial gerrymandering. In addition, we look at other traditional potential redistricting principles, looking at communities of interest. So are there socioeconomic and geographic areas that we'd like to keep together? We have to have compact and contiguous districts. They have to have visible boundaries. And we can also look at respecting voters' choices in terms of continuity in office and potential planned future growth, where we've talked about as well. Here are our demographic statistics, and this is for the entire district. As you can see, we've talked again about the difference between citizen voting age population, which is any citizen who is eligible to vote. Doesn't necessarily mean that they are registered to vote, but again, that's what we looked at when we look at protected class voting statistics. When we look at citizen voting age population, again, this is showing visually where particular concentrations, this is Latino citizen voting age population, and you can see particularly in some of the areas in North and South Chino, as well as in the Chino Hills border, particularly along the 71 freeway, are areas of Latino, Hispanic, and Hispanic concentrations. Here's our Asian American citizen voting age population. And again, there's some particular areas in College Park, the Preserve in Chino, along the 71 freeway corridor, as well as in northwestern Chino Hills, has some significant concentrations of Asian American citizen voting age population. Also, when we discussed, they were looking at ways that we could look at sort of defining having districts in both Chino Hills, and some in between. So we've put here the boundary overlays so you can see where the council districts are for both the city of Chino and the city of Chino Hills for reference, and this is overlaid for the fire district and put in there. Also, as we've discussed, Chino specifically defined their communities of interest, which are defined here. They had downtown Chino, Park East, College Park, the Preserve, and areas north of the 60 freeway, which they had lower density and their agricultural communities. So there were specific areas that they identified by resolution in terms of their communities of interest. And again, this is a point of reference for areas that we could potentially look to keep together when we draw our maps. So finally, we are here at our fourth hearing. So this is, again, to discuss the draft maps. And what we'd like to do here is potentially get consensus to move forward on either a draft map that you guys like to move forward at our final hearing, or if there are further revisions, please give us that feedback tonight so that we can present that to you at March 9th for your final hearing, and that'll be the evening which the board will adopt the district map. And again, this has to be completed by no later than April 17th to be on time to submit to the San Bernardino County Registrar of Voters. So for the remainder of tonight's session, we'll stop and ask if there are particular questions regarding to the presentation, and then we will get into the review of the updated draft maps and seek your feedback as well as the general public regarding that. So I'll stop here, and are there any particular questions associated with the presentation before we get into the maps?
Excellent. Thank you, Jeff. Before we get to the board comments, do we have any public comments on this agenda item?
There are no public comments.
Okay, with that, the public hearing's closed, and we'll now talk about it amongst the board here. We want to go one by one. How do you guys want to do this? Wayne, any questions?
The only thing that I have a question on, Mr. President, is if two reside in one district, and right now, say, I don't think we have that situation, and one is up for re-election and the other isn't, does that knock the guy out that's up for re-election?
So in the instances of the maps that we have here, there are not paired incumbents. However, if there were, it doesn't knock a person out. So the person who is currently seated in that district would be able to serve out their term, and they would serve out their term representing the old district. Well, but in this instance, you don't have any districts. But if you had districts, they would serve out their old district, and then it would just move into, again, to the whatever the election sequence that was determined. They could run for that district at that point as well.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's go through the
On Harvey?
oh, sorry.
No, I'm looking forward to going through each of them.
So, do we want to go one by one, or?
No, I want to see the presentations first.
Yeah, but I just got one question though. And this is very, very unlikely to happen, but what if an area wanted to annex into the district? What does that do to our divisions?
That's a good question. So I think, let me double check with.
And that would be true with the cities and everybody. I never heard that asked before, and I don't know why I thought of it tonight, but I'm just curious.
So I guess, so that, if there were a potential, are you assuming that might be some of the other unincorporated areas of the county? Or?
And I doubt that would ever happen here, but I could see that happening in other areas.
Yeah, that's a good question that I don't for sure know the answer to, but I can circle back with Doug. What I would guess is you would annex in, and then if there's an off balance of population, you might have to go back and redo that. But let me check with Doug, and I will get you back an answer next time.
This is a good question. I would think it would just alter the next census.
Unless, I don't know, I was just, yeah, okay, I'm done.
All right, so what do you have? Do you have a one by one?
Sure. Yeah, and sorry for jumping the gun on the questions.
No, it's
there.
fine.
Okay, so here is Plan 103 that we saw the last time. So again, we had the remarks back were that we wanted to make sure that we had Carbon Canyon fully together in one district. So Plan 103 was one of the original maps that we had put together that kept Carbon Canyon together. So this is as you had seen at the last time. What you wanted to do was see a couple of different iterations of Plan 101 that kept Carbon Canyon together, and I did that in two different ways in maps 104 and 105. So first is Draft Plan 104. So here, the way that we drew this is, and one of the other bits of feedback that we had gotten originally was, are there ways to draw basically two Chino districts, two Chino Hills districts, and sort of two in between, or one in between. And with the way that population balance is, it's difficult to do that perfectly. But so here's one way that we thought of doing this. So we have a Western Chino Hills district. Then the orange district here generally runs along and captures the communities along the 71 freeway. We have a district here that captures southern Chino Hills, as well as the Preserve and College Park, and then two areas in the north part of Chino. So one capturing, the west side up to the 71 freeway, and then the eastern area in capturing north of the 60 freeway down through central Chino, downtown Chino, and then the areas to the east to the Ontario and city borders.
Jeff, can you zoom in
Sure.
on where the bottom of the green and the top of the orange go together by the freeway?
Yep.
I just want to see what street that is, the east-west street, Edison. Okay.
Yep, so that is Schaefer.
Okay.
Yep. And so Schaefer, and this is Mountain. So the main streets here are Schaefer and Mountain, where those two connect.
And that's 104?
This is map 104, yes. Okay. And then map 105 keeps generally the district where you see 103. And that again keeps Carbon Canyon together in the red district. Has the orange district wrapping around in southern Chino Hills and up through the Preserve and College Park. Has two areas connecting into basically in between Chino and Chino Hills. And the difference here between 103 and 105, you can see, so 103, let me just go back so you can see. 103 had this area here pushing slightly across the 71 freeway for the green district. And so just to make that look cleaner and just to keep everything here for the green district, make sure that stays, to the east of the 71 freeway. We just moved some of that population around so that now captures everything east of the 71 freeway, so that it remains a kind of a clean dividing line, and then balanced out the remaining population.
So that one, the divider between the orange and the red is not Carbon Canyon, that's Sokol Canyon.
Sokol Canyon, yes.
Which is a non-existent dirt road, essentially.
Yes.
Today.
Yes, but that's where the census blocks are.
Yeah.
So.
And then can you go northbound off of right a little bit more, and to the right?
What particular area would you like to zoom in on?
I'm looking for that. Yeah, kind of that Target Center area. Okay, I'm good with that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's yeah. Is there?
Yeah, there's a senior center in there, development.
Okay.
So are there other particular areas on the maps that you'd like to zoom in on? Are there other particular things that you'd like to see for each one of the maps? I'd leave it up to you to give us feedback on how you'd like to move forward here.
I'll just start off with saying I'm pleased with both 104, 105. I think it cleaned it up a bit. My only concern on 104 is how much that middle section stretches out from north to south, but it's not enough to truly concern me.
With the purple?
Yeah, the purple in the middle there. But it's not enough to, I mean, that complies with the law, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm good with 104 and 105. I think it meets what we're looking for.
In terms of compactness, certainly 105 would be more compact than 104 is. But again, we're generally with 104, we're generally following communities here, along the 71 freeway, that share the areas along the 71 freeway in common.
If I had a preference, I think I'd go with 105, but that's my preference. So, Win, any input?
And what is this one we're looking at?
This is 105.
Right now, I'm thinking 105 is fine. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
What's between the green and the purple? What's
The cross street?
the road that's cutting right here?
Schaefer.
Yep, that's Schaefer.
That is Schaefer?
Yep, Schaefer and Mountain.
Okay. Yeah, obviously, I'm curious about that because that's my area and the green.
Yeah, can you go up a little bit more further?
Sure.
Are you in the blue, Harvey?
I see that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're in the blue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So I guess the question is do we need to have him tweak anything? Are we okay with contemplating these two? Because he'll be coming back for the final hearing next month for us to actually vote on it. Is that correct?
Yes.
So
we're discarding 103 altogether?
we don't have to discard 103 altogether.
Okay. We have 3 good maps.
Yeah, I think 103, 104, 105. For me, I think 105 works the best. 104 is good. The only thing that I don't like about 103 is there's a piece of it that on the green that goes into, can you go to 103? That goes into Chino Hills.
Yes, and that was one of the things that that again the reason why I had originally done that was for population balance of this district, but basically what I did was took that, pushed that again, so now the 71 freeway is the clean border, and then just changed around the population balance. It was slight, so that was really the cleanup there, and I tend to agree that that creates a kind of cleaner break in terms of the communities.
And I just got one question. The numbers between 101, which is similar to, or even 103 to 105, are not consistent with each other, the division numbers. So, I mean, does that make a difference?
No. So
Number them any way you want. It doesn't.
you can number them any way you want them. Yeah. The important thing is the election sequence. So making sure that that the numbers align with the elections that are up, and that's what we followed.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of what we'd be voting on is that election sequence as well, correct?
Yes. And you'll see in the map PDFs as well that we have a suggested election sequence that follows the order of the current elections.
Okay. So I think we're in agreement to narrow future deliberations down to 103, 104, 105, or do we want to scratch 103 altogether?
We can scratch 103 if you have concerns with that. I'm perfectly, if that's the entire board's desire, and we can just do 104 and 105.
And I lean towards 105.
So we have time to contemplate this. We can go under their software, blow it up, look at it a little bit more over the next month.
Okay.
But it comes back to us at that point. Anybody else?
I do have one thing. Do we want to have any more meetings about this, or the next meeting we've got to commit? Is that correct?
Yes.
So do we want to just do that, or do we want to
I
maybe
think-
have something between to look at it, or?
I mean, this is all available to us online at any time, so.
And we have the documents here and in our staff reports.
Yeah, it should be all right. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't see any big
If they want to make changes, no, because we've already published
things, problems.
So what was the question?
So one thing that Jeff and I want to clarify is there's a requirement that we have to have maps published 7 days prior to adoption.
Got it.
And so this, obviously, we've had those published 7 days, and they'll be published 7 days prior to adoption. If there are going to be tweaks that take place, if there's things that you want to change, that would have to be done prior to your next hearing so that we know and we can bring back something to you, because at the March 9th hearing, you have to pass something as is that has been published.
Got it.
So if you're, for example, choosing any one of the maps here, those have been published, those will be fine. But if there's any changes to those, that's what we need to, if there are going to be changes to any of these maps, that would have to be done prior to that.
I don't think we need any changes.
I think the changes that were made well, and I'm okay with no additional tweaks.
Yeah.
I think they're
Leaning
good.
towards 105. 104 is interesting, so I'd like
Yeah.
to
104 is
into
interesting, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think 105 is probably
So-
a better option.
Well, do we need a motion to vote
No,
on this, or just
no,
direction?
this is just
What is this?
it just comes back, right?
It will be coming back if the board has direction in terms of one or more maps to bring back. It would be appropriate to get that direction, preferably in the form of a motion.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to bring back map 104 and 105.
I'll second that. So, Director Evans, that's a motion. Director Krieger is the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So 5-0.
Easy.
So 104 or 105?
Okay, that sounds good. We will plan on bringing that back in March.
Excellent. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. Have a good rest of the evening.
Thank you.
You too.
Yeah, I think.
Vegetation Management Ordinance 2022-01. Purpose is for the Board of Directors to receive public comment, conduct a second reading by title only of Ordinance 22-01, and adopt said ordinance.
All right, this is a public hearing again, so the public hearing is now open. And Fire Marshal Daniel O'Toole, Danielle, what'd I say? Danielle, but it's the last name that's throwing me off.
Sorry.
There's a new last name here.
That is correct, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Please present your report.
Good evening, President Krieger and members of the board. At last month's regular board meeting, Ordinance 2022-01 was introduced and a first reading by title was conducted. Attached to the staff report is the proposed ordinance, which outlines various requirements that would prohibit the accumulation of combustible vegetation that could be deemed a fire hazard, endangering life, property, and the environment. The intent of this ordinance is to protect the communities we serve from the threat of wildfire while increasing community safety, as well as to clarify the process in which we can enforce vegetation management and defensible space standards. For approximately the past 21 years, the district has had a weed and hazard abatement program with the respective cities that we serve. The proposed ordinance will refine our current process by formally declaring native vegetation within the fire district as a seasonal and reoccurrent nuisance, allowing an annual resolution to be brought before the board, which will ensure greater efficiency in the noticing to property owners of noncompliance and will mitigate the increased risk of fires as a result. Ordinance 2022-01 outlines specific definitions related to what constitutes combustible vegetation and a fire hazard, sets forth minimum general requirements for compliance, including defensible space, and outlines the due process for actions by the district relating to abatement, including providing for the right to appeal and for the collection of cost recovery. The proposed ordinance has been reviewed and approved by the district's legal counsel and advertised as required by law. It is recommended that the Board of Directors receive public comment, conduct a second reading of ordinance number 2022-01, approve waiving the reading of the entire ordinance and read the ordinance by number and title only, advise the public that a complete copy of said ordinance is available for public inspection at Fire District Headquarters, and adopt ordinance number 2022-01 to be effective March 12, 2022.
Right. with that, is there any public comment on this?
No public comment.
And with that, the public hearing is now closed. It's time for the board's comment. Does anybody have anything they'd like to say on this?
Have you been with us 21 years?
Thank you.
Danielle, have you been with us 21 years?
Have I? No, not quite.
You said 21 years that the district's been doing this?
For 21 years, the fire district has had some form of vegetation management program. So in 1995, we entered into an agreement with the city of Chino Hills, and then the following year with the city of Chino to do essentially vegetation management, weed abatement inspections.
Okay, because we did weed abatement inspections way back when I was on too, but I just was wondered where the 21 years came in and how the differences were.
Gotcha.
But thank you very much. You guys do a great job.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
No comment.
Good job. Thank you with that. With this, can I have a request for a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve.
And I'll second.
Director Monaco, Director Evinger. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0 votes. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to read the ordinance. Ordinance number 2022-01, an ordinance of the Chino Valley Independent Fire District for vegetation management, defensible space, and declaring certain vegetation and certain waste matter a public nuisance and providing for the removal thereof. Public communications. This is the time and place for the general public to address the board of subjects that do not appear elsewhere on the agenda. The public may address the items at the time of address by the board. Due to public and Brown Act requirements, action may not be taken on any issue not on the agenda. When you address the board, please state your name and address prior to making your remarks. Please limit your comment to 5 minutes. Do we have any requests to speak? Okay.
Bridge.
Okay.
Oh, public comments, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Liaison reports to the Fire District. Suzette Dang, San Bernardino County 4th District.
Good evening, President Krieger, Vice President DeMonico, Board of Directors, staff, Chief Williams, our deputy chiefs, and our audience members. This is Suzette Dang with County Supervisor Kurt Hagman's office. I haven't seen you since last year, so I know it's a bit late, but Happy New Year's to everyone. I'm wishing you a very happy and healthy, prosperous New Year. I have a couple of announcements. First, Supervisor Hagman's Coffee with Kurt in the city of Montclair will be on Saturday, February 26th. It's a great opportunity for the public to meet Kurt in person and ask him questions and get some answers one-on-one. Location will be at Montclair Police Department, located 4870 Arrow Highway in Montclair. Please RSVP at supervisorhagman.eventbrite.com. And please save the date for the next Coffee with Kurt in the city of Chino. Will be on Saturday, March 19th, and more information will follow. San Bernardino County Ongo Antigen Allocation Program, I'm sure you're all aware, but I was made known recently that not everyone was actually aware on how to get these test kits. So I left some flyers in the back, and if you know of any organizations, especially for churches, nonprofits, private schools, skilled nursing facilities, or anybody in your area that you know of these groups, please connect them with us to our office, and then I can help them request these test kits through the Public Health Department. And there is a link that you just fill out. It's very simple, but please have them reach out to our office. And on a fun note, Calico Ghost Town celebrates California statehood with California Days event. And this event will be on the weekend of the President's Day weekend, February 19th and 20th. Calico Ghost Town will host this new event with educational displays about California's history, games, contests for the entire family, live entertainment, and even a chuck wagon chili cook-off. So visit www.calicotown.com for full event details. And for any county-related services or resources, again, please reach out to Supervisor Hagman's district office, which is literally across the street. And our phone number is 909-465-5265. And on the last note, just wanted to say thank you to the City of Chino Hills and also to our Sheriff's Department, our partners. Our last shredding event that happened in Chino Hills was a huge success, and we were able to serve 270 vehicles, which was our record. So thank you for your support, and good night. Thank you.
Councilmember Art Bennett, City of Chino Hills.
Well, good evening. As always, it's a pleasure to be here. I want to first publicly apologize to President Krieger and the chief, and actually, Jeremy, I think you were at our last council meeting. We have had some long meetings. The last two were 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock last night, not without their controversy. I want to apologize for me blowing up at some of the comments that were made against the council. But, you know, we have to have thick skin sometimes, but it is kind of interesting. That's why they say, you know, if you don't have thick skin, you better not get into politics, right? I do want to also thank the district's participation yesterday. As we all know, the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast is not an official city event because of the separation of church and state, but it was put on by the chamber. I almost cry when I think about it because the bagpipes and drummers, the staff, unbelievable. The honor guard, the participation by the fire district. You guys really came out in force, and I appreciate the support. And I know Mayor Marquez did also. There's one thing I want to point to now, Chief. I'll follow your lead, whether you can or can't discuss this or want to now, but we had a very special announcement during your comments last night. Something that I was hopeful this would happen when I was mayor. That's when we really were pushing it, and that goes back a couple years now. But we are happy to say that the escrow has closed on the new fire station, and we are looking so forward to getting that monumental task taken care of. So I don't know if you want to, because I didn't see it on the agenda tonight, so I don't know if you want to comment on it later, Chief, but at any rate, thank you so much. Everybody in the council has been after Ben Montgomery and everybody else to get this thing done, and we're happy that it's done. So,
no, thank you for mentioning that, Mr. Bennett. We are extremely happy as well. I appreciate your staff and your city manager. We worked very hard over the last couple months, and probably even extremely harder from last Friday to Monday morning. I think I took no less than I probably have a whole phone full of phone calls and text messages for just the last 3 or 4 days. So thank you to your staff. We're very excited to be able to put a new fire station in where it's long been needed to be able to serve our community. And thank you for your support.
All right. And with that, that's my comments. But Happy New Year as well. And let's hope that this one isn't quite as eventful as the last two. We appreciate so much everything this district does for our residents. And with the ambulances out there doing their things, response times are better and lives are going to be saved because of the decision that this board took in buying those 4 ambulances. So thank you again from every resident in the city of Chino Hills.
And can I say something, Councilmember Bennett? I just have to make a correction. Okay. The mayor's breakfast is not put on by the chamber.
Oh, yeah.
There's 10
right.
volunteers,
That's
10
right.
volunteers in the community who work and put it together, and God ordained it, and the chamber just handles the registration. So
And I do stand corrected because I know you and Sylvia Nash in particular, who are residents of Chino Hills, and you, of course, in my district, which I really appreciate. Yes, the work is phenomenal. And this year, we have not heard anything but wonderful comments about yesterday morning. It was just unbelievable. The owner, the young owner of In-N-Out, had her testimony with her husband, and it was a fantastic, moving event, and it was just unbelievably attended. I heard it was over 400 people, and they were actually turning people away.
We had 524, and we closed registration in December.
There you go.
With
See,
the
I
wait
should have
list.
you make that report. I stand corrected. And I was not trying to slight anyone. But yes,
No,
we
it's
had a
okay.
lot of sponsors, as you know.
Yes.
And
And the
it's well
Lord's hand in
appreciated.
it, 100%.
I am so happy that 3 years ago when I was mayor that we brought this back, because we had, in Chino Hills, it hadn't been going on for like 23 years. We missed it. And it was one of my accomplishments when I was mayor to get that to come back on and involve the city of Chino Hills. I'm happy we did it, and we as a city are very blessed because it happened. So thank you for that correction.
Clerk of the Board, Donald Bridge, Chino Valley Unified School District.
Well, good evening, President Krieger, Vice President DeMonico, board members, Chief Williams, staff, and yes. First correction, and I'll do it in my first part of my statement. At our December reorganization meeting, the board elected Christina Gagne, president of the school board, Andrew Cruz, vice president, and James Naw as clerk. But I will still be the liaison to the fire board. At the last board meeting, and I was interested in seeing your maps tonight. The board selected a new district trustee area election map, dividing our school district into 5 trustee election areas. Now, last fall, we did select one map, and what we did last week was we got 3 revisions of the one map based on the updated census numbers. And so if you go to the district website, on the home page, you can see all of the 3 maps. The board did select map number 1, and that's the map that will be going to the county registrar of voters for our elections in November. And I heard Mr. Williams' comment earlier about what happens if you live in the same district. I am a living example of that because Mr. Schaefer and I live within a block of each other. Mr. Schaefer will be up for re-election in the new district this year in 22. I'm allowed to serve out my term in 24. But then, unless I move or something like that, I will be off the board. But that's what happens. They allow me as an at-large member to stay until my term is up, and that is in 24.
You can run again, right?
No, not in that area unless I move out of that area. If whoever, Mr. Schaefer or whoever in our trustee area 3, which is up in November 22, gets elected, they will have that seat, and that will put me automatically out. If I went back to my old house in South Ontario, I would be able to run in that new district, but that was 30 years ago, so I'm quite happy where I'm at. Also, the board voted on and selected a new start time for the school year next year for elementary, junior highs, and high schools in our entire district due to Senate Bill 328, which was passed in 2019 before the pandemic. And that bill, if you recall, stated that high schools could not start before 8:30 in the morning. Some districts have already gone to that this year. We waited to see if the legislature might go back and remodify with a new bill and change that. They did not, so to comply with the law, we voted on a new start time. We had a large committee of parents, teachers, and board members that selected their parents to serve on the committee, who came up with 5 options. The board selected option E, which basically will start elementaries at 7:50 a.m., junior high schools at 9:12, and high schools at 8:35 to comply with the law. The reason we selected that one is that was the one the district sent out a large survey. It was the #1 choice of the employees. It was also the #1 choice of the families, and we felt it was the best that represented the feelings of the entire community. And then the last thing I have on a personal note, I have a new family addition in Arizona. Unfortunately, it's not ADA for our district, but my son and daughter-in-law had a new baby boy 2 weeks ago. We're going over this weekend to meet him. Council Member Bennett will be pleased with the name. They named him Arthur Donald Bridge. So, thank you. Pardon me?
What was his birthday?
Arthur.
No, his birthday, what day?
Oh, January 25th, which would have been my mother's 99th birthday, which I thought was very appropriate.
And your new grandson was born on what day?
The 28th.
28th?
Yeah, he came right on his due date by 7 minutes.
Consent calendar?
Consent calendar
Anybody like to pull anything off the consent calendar, items 1 through 8? Which one through 8?
Nope, I'll motion to approve.
So we have a motion by Director Evinger, second by Director Luth. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So 5-0.
Old business, none. New business. Side letter between Teamsters Local 1932 Non-Safety Unit and the Chino Valley Independent Fire District regarding value of uniforms reported to CalPERS for classic employees. Purpose is for the Board of Directors to provide approval for a side letter between Teamsters Local 1932 Non-Safety Unit and the Chino Valley Independent Fire District regarding value of uniforms reported to CalPERS for classic employees. Finance Director Steve Heidi, please present your report.
President Krieger, members of the board, good evening. This item was discussed earlier in closed session, and staff is recommending that the Board of Directors provide authority to the fire chief to enter into a side letter agreement as presented between Teamsters Local 1932 Non-Safety Unit and the Chino Valley Independent Fire District re-value of uniforms reported to CalPERS for classic employees. And with that, if there are any questions, I would be happy to address those at this time.
Do we have any requests to speak on this item?
There are no requests to speak.
This time for board comments. Board members, do we have any comments on this? I think we were thoroughly.
I just one. This is the first of two that we're doing. Has this one already been voted on by the non-safety group?
I believe this is in process.
Okay.
We do have tentative agreement with labor on this. We're waiting to finalize. So we are looking for approval for the fire chief to enter into the agreement.
So you'd like to approve it contingent upon this?
Subject to?
I'd like to make a motion
Yes.
that we conditionally approve this pending approval by the bargaining unit.
Okay, now second that.
So we have a first and a second. Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Item number 10, side letter between the Chino Valley Professional Firefighters Local 3522 Safety Unit. Purpose is for the Board of Directors to provide approval for a side letter between the Chino Valley Professional Firefighters Local 3522 Safety Unit and the Chino Valley Independent Fire District regarding value of uniforms reported to CalPERS for classic employees. Finance Director Steve Heidi, please present your report.
President Krieger, members of the board, good evening once again. It's recommended that the Board of Directors provide authority to the fire chief to enter into a side agreement letter as presented between the Chino Valley Professional Firefighters, Local 3522 Safety Unit, and the Chino Valley Independent Fire District, re-value of uniforms reported to CalPERS for classic employees. And I would just add that I believe we do have tentative agreement with CVPF, and I believe they're conducting their vote today, so we would anticipate that to be ratified by the unit here in short order, and we'd be looking for approval similarly to the previous item presented for Teamsters. That concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Do we have any requests to speak?
No request to speak.
Seeing none, back to the board. Any comments? I'll make my same motion that we conditionally approve this pending the vote of the bargaining unit. I'll second. So first by Director DeMonico, second by Director Luth. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. Thank you. Can we we're going to take a 3-minute quick break. Thank you. All right, we're ready to move forward.
Okay. Item number 11, Local Agency Formation Commission, LAFCO, nomination for the positions of regular special district member and alternate special district member. Purpose is for the Board of Directors to review and discuss the option of nominating a fire district board member as candidate for the position of LAFCO regular special district member or alternate special district member. President Krieger and members of the board, the fire district has received a letter from LAFCO officially opening the nomination period for a regular special district member and or an alternate special district board member. The term of office for the current positions are scheduled to expire May 2nd, 2022. The positions are both four-year terms. The nomination forms are due to LAFCO by 5 p.m. on February 14th, 2022. If the Board of Directors would like to submit a candidate nomination, it must be done by official board action. If LAFCO receives only one candidate nomination for each position, the sole candidates shall be deemed selected with no further vote required. If more than one candidate nomination is received for the positions, a mail ballot will be sent out to all participating agencies. Earlier this evening, we received notice from LAFCO that Jim Curatalo, Cucamonga Valley Water District, is no longer seeking to run for re-election as the incumbent for the regular member position. The district then received notice from LAFCO that Steve Farrell, Crestline Village Water District, who is a current incumbent for the alternate voting member position, is now seeking election for the regular member position. Both seats are open for nomination. It is recommended that the Board of Directors review and discuss the option of nominating a Fire District Board member as candidate for the current LAFCO regular Special District member vacancy and or the alternate Special District member vacancy and take action accordingly.
All right, do we have any requests to speak on this?
We have no request to speak.
It's time for the board's comments. I know Steve Farrell. He's a good guy, lives up in the mountain, lives up in Crestline area. He's involved in some other county stuff, so I know him as being a thoughtful, good guy.
What district is he with?
Supervisor district?
No, the special district.
He's with Crestline Village Water.
He's with Crestline.
Village Water.
Yeah. So that's the only person who I personally know off this. I have no. I think it'd be great if one of us was super into this and would be part of it, but I'm not that person.
What is how often do they meet and what does it entail?
LAFCO is the local
Formation Commission.
Area Formation Commission. They're the ones that set boundaries for cities and districts, and when we became a district, we had to be approved by LAFCO. It's like planning commission, but super detailed.
Do you know how often they meet or anything?
I believe they meet several times a month.
Whoa.
It's a lot. So with
There isn't anyone who has a desire from our board?
Hoping either you or Harvey.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can't do that.
I'm gonna have to say no right now.
Okay,
I would love to do it.
How about for the alternate?
Yeah, that's possible, I guess. Yeah. I just know I've got more travel coming up ahead of me. That's my concern.
Yeah, I can't commit.
I do too.
Okay. All right.
Well,
So
we
with
can pass this time.
so that I think we're going to not put forth anybody from our district on that.
You don't need to take any action, then you just
Okay.
move on to the next item.
Item number 12, California Special Districts Association, CSDA, call for nominations for Board of Directors Seat B. Purpose is for the Board of Directors to review and discuss the CSDA call for nominations for a seat on the CSDA board and determine fire district participation. President Krieger, members of the board, CSDA is currently accepting nominations for a CSDA director seat for the Southern Network. This seat is a 3-year term expiring in 2025. The fire district is eligible to nominate one person, such as a fire board member or managerial employee, for election as a CSDA director. The incumbent for seat B in the Southern Network is Don Bartz, general manager with the Phelan Pinion Hills Community Services District. The incumbent has expressed a desire to run for re-election. If the Fire Board Board of Directors elects to submit a nomination, a copy of the Fire District's minute action and candidate information sheet must be submitted to CSDA by March 31st, 2022. A CSDA board member is expected to attend all board meetings, usually 4 to 5 times a year, at the Sacramento office, and also serve on at least one CSDA committee. Committees meet 3 to 5 times a year in Sacramento. Board members are also requested to attend the CSDA annual conference and special districts legislative days and complete all 4 modules of the CSDA's Special District Leadership Academy within 2 years. CSDA does not provide reimbursement for conferences and academy expenses. All qualified nominees received by CSDA will be placed on the election ballot. CSDA has a web-based online voting system. Electronic ballots will be emailed to the Fire District by June 2nd, 2022, with a voting deadline date of July 8th, 2022. It is recommended that the Board of Directors review and discuss the California Special Districts Association call for nominations for a seat on the CSDA board and either vote to submit a nomination or decline to participate.
All right, do we have any requests to speak on this?
There are no requests to speak.
So, seeing none, back to the board.
Okay, well, I know Don, and he does a great job. You know Don as well, John.
I've known Don for several
Yes, we have
years.
yeah. And he does a really good job for us, so I feel that we should support Don. That's just my personal opinion.
All right.
Mine too. I've known Don for a long time, and he's young. He's a go-getter, and he's done since he's been on the board now. I think he got that appointed position last year, or the year before, and he's done a tremendous job.
Yes.
He's very active and very involved. So, my support goes to Don.
And who's he with?
He's with
Pinion Hills Community Service District.
Okay, well, I'm not going to participate in it at this time. Looks like both of you are not.
No, I would agree with the comments already made.
Yep. Win?
Go along with it.
All right, so
That's
we're
probably a bigger
not going to
commitment than us, though.
participate at this time.
Item number 13, ordinance number 2022-02, increasing the compensation of the Board of Directors. Purpose is to review a proposed increase in the compensation of the Board of Directors and conduct a first reading introduction of ordinance number 2022-02. President Krieger, members of the board. The Fire District Policy and Procedures for Board of Directors calls for review and consideration of board compensation at the beginning of each even year to determine if any adjustments are appropriate. As of January 9th, 2022, at the January 9th, 2022 board meeting, the majority of the board voted to adopt an ordinance to increase board compensation by $10 per meeting. Attached to your staff report is ordinance number 2022, which reflects a $10 increase for a total of $175 per meeting. The effective date for the ordinance would be July 1st, 2022. The proposed schedule for the adoption of ordinance number 2022-02 is as follows. Number 1, first reading, February 9th, 2022. Number 2, second reading and public hearing, adoption of ordinance, March 9th, 2022. Number 3, ordinance effective July 1st, 2022, in compliance with the Fire District Policy and Procedures for Board of Directors. It is recommended that the Board of Directors approve the proposed increase to board member compensation. If approved, it is recommended that the Board of Directors conduct a first reading and introduction of ordinance number 2022-02, increasing the compensation of the Board of Directors effective July 1st, 2022. Approve waiving the reading of the entire ordinance number 2022-02 and read the ordinance by number and title only. Advise the public that a complete copy of the ordinance number 2022-02 is available for public inspection at Fire District Headquarters. Set a public hearing for March 9th, 2022 for the second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2022-02 and direct staff to provide public notice as required by law.
All right, do we have any requests to speak on this?
There are no requests to speak.
See none, it's now for the time for the board to comment or with your remarks. We went over this last month, so I'll make a motion that we move this forward.
I'll second.
Win second. Any comments? All right. We're going to do a voice vote on this because of the way it goes. So Win.
I vote yes.
Harvey.
No.
Yes for me. John.
No.
Sarah.
Yes.
Yes. So 3-2. And I just have a point of question, Jeff. do we have to do, this is our second time voting on this, do we have to vote next month on this again?
Yes, this is the first reading. The ordinance requires 2 readings, so we'll bring it back, do a public hearing, and then there'll be another vote on it.
It just, so we have to vote on the public hearing again?
You're
Or
voting,
can the public hearing just be read?
You're voting on the ordinance for the second time next month. It's just that the state law requires that a public hearing be conducted at that time.
Okay.
So,
all right. It just seems weird to vote on the same thing 3 times.
It does, and it's really, that's more a product of the fact that we have a policy that requires us to bring back the issue and discuss it before we move forward to the normal ordinance adoption process, which requires 2 votes. So it is unusual, but that's the way we do it.
All right. With that, I'll let that go. So thank you.
Okay. So I'll read the ordinance title. Ordinance number 2022-02, an ordinance of the Board of Directors of the Chino Valley Independent Fire District, County of San Bernardino, State of California, increasing the compensation of the Chino Valley Independent Fire District Board of Directors. Item number 14, reclassification of part-time office technician position EMS training to full-time administrative secretary EMS training. Purpose is for the Board of Directors to review and discuss the proposed reclassification of the part-time office technician EMS training position to full-time administrative secretary EMS training. Deputy Chief Jeremy Alt, please present your report.
Good evening, President Krieger, members of the board. As you're well aware, the EMS and Training Division is responsible for managing several key programs that directly impact the mission of the district. Obviously, that involves emergency medical services administration, but also directing all aspects of training and coordination at the training center. In addition to that, the EMS and training staff are tasked with tracking, evaluating, and synthesizing data to determine our current operational effectiveness, which drives organizational growth and improvement. Now, I got promoted to training captain in 2007, and in about 2009, we recruited and hired our part-time office technician for that position. She's actually sitting over there right now. But since that time, with one short stint in between, we've had one part-time office technician that has served the training division and EMS division. And obviously, we've experienced tremendous growth since that time. That involves programs and scheduling for things like the district's cardiac care program, which you're well aware has had a tremendous improvement and impact in saving lives in the community. The training center itself has become a hub, as you're well aware, of a lot of activity. That's all managed by that part-time office technician. And it's become very evident that that increase in demand for administrative support has outpaced the capacity and the scope of one part-time office technician. Staff has conducted a review and study the current job descriptions for office technician and administrative secretary. Staff has determined that the current and future needs of the district at the training center align with the job description of an administrative secretary and support a reclassification of the current part-time office technician position to a full-time administrative secretary. Now, if approved, the fiscal impact of the reclassification for the current budget year would be absorbed in the current budget. And we also believe that the district has the depth of talent necessary to fit the needs of the district within our current workforce. We have several employees that would qualify to apply for that, and we would recruit that as an internal promotional exam, of course, with the facilitation of HR. This item has been brought forward both to Finance and HR and moved to the board for approval. And with that, I will read the recommendation. It is recommended to review, discuss, and approve the request for reclassification of the part-time office technician position of EMS and training to full-time administrative secretary, EMS and training. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any and all questions.
Thank you, Jeremy. Do we have any requests to speak on this?
No requests to speak.
So not hearing none, it's time for the board to comment. I would like to hear Director DeMonico's comments on this.
Yeah, I think this is a long time coming, and the district is growing. We've been growing, and we're getting ready to grow considerably with another fire station and potentially more units with that. The preserve grows and other areas grow, and this is a long time coming. I'm surprised it's taken this long. I'm always supportive of the position. I know the value of it, and I know what the value of it was to me when I used to. I don't use that 4-letter word very much anymore at work, but when I used to work and had it was a very, very valuable position to get me lot of trouble sometimes, but in line too, and not missing meetings, so I fully support this. One question I do have though is this is an internal promotion, so this is not established in LS, this is establishing a promotion for now.
Well, so whenever we do an internal promotion as part of our rules process, when we conduct either an external test or an internal promotion for a testing process, we establish an eligibility list as part of our process. So essentially, those who are eligible to apply and meet the requirements that are currently employees would apply as if they were an engineer trying to become a captain, similar pathway. And then we would conduct an internal recruitment process and then choose the person from that eligibility list that came out of that process.
And then if there was a future opening, then we would use, within the time the list was in effect, we would promote from that list.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Question? I have one question. Go ahead. Not cutting anybody off.
Nope.
Okay. Is the person that's been doing it part-time going to be, do you think that person will be trying to go for full-time?
I believe it's reasonable, yes. I think that person would be interested in his that person's currently a part-time office technician. We have multiple office technicians, I believe, that would be eligible to apply.
Okay. Just curious, this kind of seems like it'd be a good one for the person that's doing it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Evinger.
I have no questions because we discussed this in the HR committee, so I'm good with this right now.
All right.
Thank you.
Discuss this in finance as well. So with that, can I have a motion?
Yes,
Motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this.
No,
Director
second it.
Demonco and Director Evinger is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Chief, Fire Chief comments.
Thank you, President Krieger. We are happy to report that it appears that at least, or with the latest COVID wave has quickly passed through our suppression personnel without significant long-term effects and or impacts. As a result, we have moved back into staffing levels that have created a stable atmosphere. Our suppression personnel continue to staff 2 ambulances 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. AMR is starting to rebuild their daily staffing levels due to COVID numbers declining as well. Excuse me. With this change, AMR has started to respond to calls again in the district. In the event that AMR is projected to have response time that is longer than 9 minutes and 59 seconds, a Chino Valley ambulance is deployed to the incident in lieu of AMR at the time of dispatch. During the month of January, our ambulances responded to 274 incidents in the district and transported 116 patients to the hospital. The average response time for our ambulance during the time frame was 8 minutes and 24 seconds. Since July 3rd, our ambulance have responded to 4,687 incidents, and we have transported 1,964 patients to the hospital. So we appreciate the hard work and dedication of our employees in doing so. And it's really a testament to their commitment to the community and their willingness to participate and pick up this and run with it. Board activities and public relations. On February 5th, staff and I attended the Run for Russ Memorial 5K Run and Community Walk in Chino. Great event. It's always an opportunity for us to partner with our Chino law enforcement partners, and we had a really great lunch with them, with their whole command staff last week, and just continue to build those relationships, and looking forward to future endeavors. On February 8th, board members, staff, and I attended the Chino Valley Mayor's Breakfast at Los Serranos Country Club. Again, Mr. Bennett commented on that, but I think all the board members were there, all the command staff was there, I think all the E-board was there, the honor guard was there, the pipes and drums. I think we probably had more members than anybody collectively, so I appreciate labor and the command staff and everybody's willingness to participate. Under a recruitment update, I'd go ahead and I'll hand this off to our HR consultant, Andres A.
Thank you, Chief. Good evening, President Krieger and members of the board. Just a quick update on our recruitments. So for our firefighter, paramedic, with our 6 candidates have completed their backgrounds. And so we will be starting them on February the 28th. And we also began a new recruitment for firefighter, paramedic. The process started on January the 31st, and currently we have 70 applications. And the closing date for this recruitment is February the 28th. For the HR and Finance Director positions, we will be doing oral interviews tomorrow. Be two outside panels here doing interviews. For our office technician, application period closed on Monday, February the 7th, and we received 189 applications. And so HR is currently reviewing the applications. We anticipate the first round of testing for the office tech to take place the first week of March. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Director Say. I appreciate that. This is a really special notification here. Obviously we talked about it a little bit tonight. Station 68 update. We're now the official owners of the property located at Pipeline and Soco Canyon Parkway. Additionally, we'll be turning over the keys to our former property at 4040 Eucalyptus. Our escrow has officially closed, and the county recorder has accepted the grant deed for property transfer, and we're in receipt of the initial funding for that project. So we're very excited about that. Under upcoming events, on February 21st, administrative offices will be closed in observance of the President's Day holiday. On the 2022 Chino State of the City event will take place at the Plains of Fame Museum on February 22nd. So if you're attending that and you haven't gotten your food order in, make sure you do that. The Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for February 28th at 8 a.m. And the ASB Csd meeting will take place on February 28th, 2022 in the San Bernardino at 6 p.m. And that concludes my reports, unless you have any questions.
Fantastic, thank you. We'll now move on to board member comments. Director Luth.
All right, so.
Sorry, I didn't give you a heads up then.
Oops, it's okay. Attended a couple of Chino council meetings on the 18th and the 1st this month. The 20th was an airport commission meeting that I listened in on. Not much going on there other than continued concerns about the road and access issues around Chino Airport. And then also Chino Hills Mayor Ray Marquez is now chair for the for the upcoming year of that commission. Also attended on the 8th, yesterday, Mayor Prayer Breakfast. Well done, nice event, well done. And again, as has already been mentioned, the pipe and drums just set the tone for the whole event. It was just so well done. So again, thank you to everyone who was involved in participating in that. Congratulations to Chris Green, Jared Mitchell. By the way, I've known Jared well before he got here. I have a little association with him. It's good to see those two. 15 years. To Brian Turner, Employee of the Year, Angelica, Firefighter of the Year, Jeff, and Chaplain Robert Lewis. Just, boy, gonna miss him. His demeanor, his voice, his tone, his melodic, just a class act. Gonna miss him a lot. Appreciate all he did for the district and for the community. And with that, I'll end my comments.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Director Williams.
Okay, thank you very much. I too would like to congratulate all our members. And also I was very saddened by the death of Jerry Lopez. I worked with Jerry a great deal of time, and that was quite a blow for me. Also, I have a newspaper article here about Ontario, not the Ontario Fire Department, but just Ontario. And I thought it was rather interesting because it's a failed lawsuit cost city $134,000. I don't know if you guys happen to see this or not. It was a $2.99 energy bar from a convenience store, and an employee, not a sworn employee of the police department, was accused of taking it. And the reason that it's important is $134,000, and they went through a lot of things. They had a mediator. The mediator said that she should be put back to work, and they didn't listen, and the city council went ahead and upheld her termination. And so the union fought it, and she got her job back with all the back pay and everything else. And the two things that are important here is we need to keep things in perspective. $134,000 to try and fire a young lady and keep her from having a job. And the other thing is the way that they went to the city council, and the city council, instead of going along with the mediator, upheld her termination, and then it went to court and everything. And here the point is, and I don't want the idea that if I don't agree with the chief, I don't like the chief, or I've got an issue with the chief. It's just a difference of opinion. My opinion is that the fire board needs to be involved in discipline. And, you know, that's just my opinion. And the fire chief doesn't feel that way, and that's okay. I mean, I'm not going to say, oh, well, he's wrong and I'm right or anything like that. It's just the way things are. So, but by the same token, I hope we never have a situation like this. We haven't had, too bad, and that was concerning to me that Ontario would have such an attitude. And it seems like there was some underlying things there. I don't know if there was some deal there where somebody had it in for her or exactly what the situation was, but that was terrible. And also, I was going to ask Jeff, did we come out with something out of the closed session where I wasn't involved tonight, Jeff?
As the board president indicated earlier, there was no reportable action from any of the closed session items.
So there's, it wasn't decided whether or not the board can do sanctions on another board member or one of the board members or whatever?
There was no reportable action.
So that means that they can continue to do the way they've done?
There's no reportable action, and I'm not going to disclose what was discussed in closed session, especially not with you, the adversary.
Okay. Then I would like to ask you to show me where it says or how it is that board members can do sanctions on one of the board members, if that's legal. Can I ask you to do that or not?
You can ask.
Because, you know, if it's legal, I mean, just show it to me and I'm going for it and I'll live with it. But if it's not legal, it needs to stop. I don't think it's legal, and what you've shown me so far, it hasn't shown that it's legal. That's all I'm getting at. So, you know, I just need to move on. You know, we got to follow the law, and I just want my fellow board members to understand I don't have animosity toward you guys. I didn't come on this board to be negative or anything else. I know you guys don't believe it. I love you guys. I think you're all here for the right reason. I think we're all here for the right reason. And I hope that we can start treating each other just like we do everybody, with respect, honesty. Do remember that I did work here for 33 years, and there was no incidents of any kind of problems, you know, threats or violence or anything like that. So please understand that. And there have not been any incidents of threats or violence since. Oh, yes, and by the way, when I was doing my liaison yesterday, or whatever you call it, with the County Board of Supervisors, one of the supervisors there, the older gentleman, can't think of his name right now, he got very upset about the fact that he tried to get some information from CalPERS in regards to some fatal accidents, and they said they don't give that information out. And the reason it's important is he was very frustrated, as I was very frustrated at the last meeting, and he got upset, noticeably upset and whatnot, and it happens. But, you know, please forgive me, but, you know, I'm just wanting to be a regular board member. I don't want to be special. I don't want to be treated differently. And I think that's reasonable. And I know Harvey at the last meeting says something about rhetoric statements. Well, I hear rhetoric statements too when I ask to be treated like a regular board member. And I'm asking also, let's not have the regular rhetoric statements. Let's say, hey, you're one of us. You have all the same benefits. You've shown yourself to be honorable and okay. And I appreciate it, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Williams. Director Evanger.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to make one comment that as an elected official, my duty does not involve discipline and or action of an employee when they do something wrong or that. That is strictly between the manager and the employee, and it's on a need to know, and we have to protect our employees and their employment status at all times. So that's why we don't get involved in that, because we really don't have a need. I attended the ASB, do I have it, CSD, is that right? Did I say that right? Yep, I have it. Yep, I got that right. The meeting, and our guest speaker was Ensign Mason, and it was he did a great presentation. I really enjoyed it, and I don't like paying taxes or do it, you know, but I really, truly enjoyed it, and it's nice because he's done a lot of improvements, and on his portal, we can type in our address, and it will populate and it tell us exactly every line item where our taxes go. How much of our taxes come to the fire district, how much, oh yeah, it's super cool. Really? Oh yeah, I've had the best time going through itemized line, and you can, if you want to take, it has the website there. It's really cool. If you go, it's right on there and it tells you. So that was good. That was a really, really good meeting. I really enjoyed the presentation. I attended 2 Chino Hills meetings, rather long. The first one, rather long. Had my monthly meeting with the chief. We had an HR committee meeting, fire safe council meeting. We had a Fred L. Burns meeting. I had a CSDA member services, and I just want to congratulate. We have Green and for their 15-year in Mitchell. Their 15 years with the I can't believe, because I remember when they were first hired. So that was crazy when I saw the 15 years for both of them. And we have our Firefighter of the Year, Jeff Anderson, who works very, very hard, and he's done a lot. He's worked very, very hard. And congratulations to him and Angelica. I still want to call her by her maiden name. I don't know why after all these years, but it's dilatory. And then, Brian Turner did a great job in the training area, and I'm sure he's happy to be moving on and doing something else right now. And then Chaplain Lewis, he was just amazing. I just love that man. And heartfelt that we were blessed to have it. And we're blessed to have our chaplains and the program and what they do. And so just sad to see him go, but completely understand, life changes. There's changes in life. And I just want to thank everyone, the union, our district for showing up and really representing the fire district at the mayor's prayer breakfast, the support and everyone. And the pipes and drums just truly made it. And actually, Pete was the one that had originally offered that up to me, because we were just doing the honor guard. So thank you so much, because that really just put it over the edge this year. Everyone's just talking. It was a great, truly event. And thank you guys. Really appreciate everyone for attending yesterday and that. And I want to publicly announce that I am now a GLAMA. We, with the L, GLAMMA, make no mistake, please. George Michael Evanger III was born on January 28th, and we will call him after Mike. So his name, he's Mikey. He'll go by Mikey. And it's just an absolute blessing, and I'm just so excited now. So, and that's all. Thank you guys, everyone. Have a happy Valentine's Day.
Is that your first grandchild?
It's my first grandchild, yes.
Excellent. Congratulations. Director
Thank
Monica.
Okay. attended several meetings, including Chino Council, Chino Hill City Council. I want to make a comment on Chino Hill City Council. The meeting I attended as a resident because the contract was up for renewal, and there was quite a bit of discussion there. And I just want to commend the Chino Hill City Council for the diligence they did, and it was really a tough decision for them, but they made the decision, and I support their decision. I think they did a great job. Attended IEUA meetings. Virtually, I watched San Bernardino County Supervisors meetings. I watched those. Those can be entertaining, especially public comment sections. I also attended the Association of San Bernardino County Special Districts meeting, and Ensign is not in the Navy. That's really his name. So I asked him, I said, if you were in the Navy, would you be Ensign? He said yes. Had a legislative committee meeting with CSDA. This meeting was just basically the policy manual and the expectations of the committee. There were no bills discussed, nothing presented, but the expectations of the committee. Also attended the Csda review, finance committee meeting, Chino quarterly. Confire, I had a meeting with the director of Confire. We had a nice conversation with Art and the chief, and I thank you for that. The mayor's per breakfast, I thought that was really great. 3 of us sat at the same table. Somebody did not sit with us.
I noticed that too, but you know.
No, there was room. There was an empty chair.
Yeah.
But I want to make a comment on that because, first of all, you were part of the committee to put that together. It was phenomenal. You did a great job, and thank you for that. And guys, you guys were awesome. The pipes and drums, it's so cool. It really is. And every time they start, I get chills. I mean, they do a great job, and my kudos to the guys, because those bagpipes are not easy to play, and kudos to them. They do a phenomenal job, and you guys put that together. Thank you for that. Chaplain Robert Lewis, we're going to miss him. He was 7 years. Hard to believe he was here 7 years, but I wish him well in the future endeavors. And with Chris and Jerry, they're 15 years each. I didn't get a 15-year bid, but I've been here longer than they have. I was really a rookie. Congratulations to them. I'm so happy for them. There you go. And Chief Turner, I'm gonna put that on my wall. I'm taking that home. Chief Turner, going into staff and either the EMS section or training, it's a tough job. It's very grueling, very time-consuming. Pete, you're in there now for the 2nd time, and you know what it takes. But thanks to him for all his hard work and the time he did and what he did for that section. Firefighter of the Year, Jeff. Congratulations, Jeff, on being selected as Firefighter of the Year. And Angelica, congratulations on being selected Employee of the Year. It's quite an honor for both. And with that, I want to wish everybody a very happy Valentine's Day. Don't forget to get your cards and flowers and dinner reservations.
Yeah. Thanks for the reminder. I as well want to thank all the honorees tonight. We have a fabulous group of people that work here, and it's great to see them being recognized for all the hard work that they do day in and day out. So it's absolutely fantastic. Very happy about that. I attended some school board meetings. Those are always fun. Chino Hills meetings, as Art mentioned, one of them went quite late. I think it was 11 o'clock at night when we got out. National Day of Prayers, everybody said was the Chino Valley Mayor Prayers Breakfast was fantastic. And as everybody else said about the pipe and drums and the honor guard, and our turnout there, I think says a lot about us in the district and what the community means to us as a whole. Really tonight, I want to thank Dave, your diligence on Station 68 and getting all that put together. I came in and signed docs for you a week ago, and you worked very hard and diligently. I think we were on the phone daily, if not several times a day, and you were completely on top of it. And I know a little frustrated with some of the process, but you got it done, and we're happy, and we're moving forward, and that's what's important. So we're really looking forward to seeing this get kicked off, and I know government works slow, but, you know, to get this, at least now we can really truly get the ball moving. So really looking forward to that and hope to see that come to fruition as quickly as possible. With that, I'd like to also say Happy Valentine's Day to everybody, and we'll adjourn the meeting to the next regularly scheduled meeting of the Chino Valley Fire District on Wednesday, March 9th, 2022 at 6 o'clock p.m. Here at District Headquarters. Good evening.